Hey guys, this is Shane and welcome to my Curator of the Lost channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about taking photos and just what I do on taking photos for selling books on eBay. What works for me. I'm not, I think these are what I would call these best practices, but I don't want to be presumptuous, but if nothing else, it's what works for me. And I think that it's good things to get you thinking about what you should do, or how you could do your photos right for your book listing. So before I jump in, I want to say thanks for channel support. Thanks for the views, the comments. I look forward to. I'm sure you guys have people who've been doing this for a while. You probably have some tricks of the trade on your photos that work for you, and look forward to hearing those comments and sharing that in the forum. So anyway, let's talk about photos. They drive your sales. Good photos will help increase your sales. It's one of those things that, if you look at your quality listing reports, the eBay quality listing, if you have just one or two photos or no photos, just using stock photos, it'll flag those things as things you can improve on to improve your listing scores, right? Which the whole thing about that is trying to get the algorithm to promote you more and to put you at the top of the list, right? Or on the first page. So I think the first takeaway on that is, if you're listing books, don't just use stock photos. It's faster, you can just use it, but think of it if you're a buyer. And that's probably not using stock photos would be the number 2 point. The number 1 point would be, think of your photos as if you're a buyer and you want to understand what's going on with, this item, this book that you're looking at. You want to see enough about it to understand the condition, enough quality, enough views, so that you're not surprised when you get it. And if there are flaws on the book, that's okay. The photos, they should show that, so that if you have something listed as acceptable or good and the photos show it, the buyer knows what they're getting. Long term, it makes it a better experience for everyone, right? So it's truth in advertising, and it's just showing what if you were the buyer, what you would want to see. So I want to do a little demo here of showing you the views, and what I'm going to use is something I'm about to list. It's a volume 2 of Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Okay, this book comes in a box set. It's a volume 1 and a volume 2. Volume 1 is similar to this, but it's red and it comes in a slipcase. I don't have the slipcase or the volume 1. Together, those can obviously bring more money, but people need just the second volume. I found this at an estate sale. I paid $1 for it. It'll sell for $20 or so, and somebody that is missing the other volume, that's why it'll still sell. And this one's in pretty good shape. There are some things I'm gonna talk about, but I'm gonna break away and show you how I would take the photos, and then I'll come back and recap some stuff. So watch this part. So when I'm doing photos for eBay for books, the one thing I like to do first is just to have like this cover shot, just kind of like you go here. So this is really my primary photo that I'll use. Then I'll flip it and I'll do the rear cover, okay? And then I like to do kind of a shot that is here, and I'll kind of go lower so that I get the kind of the spine. Then I'll do an open front cover like this. And then I always like to go to either this title page or whichever title page looks good. I'll take a picture of that so they can see that. Sometimes there's cool artwork or some kind of end piece that's really nice. Then I try to do a photo here of the copyright so they can see the year. And then the last one is I'll show the back end pieces. Okay, so if you think about it, that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5, 6, and 7. That's 7 photos. That's, will really describe the book. Now, if it had worn edges or something like that, I'll also zoom in on this case. See how the leaf edge has kind of some spotting on the top leaf edge? I'll take a photo of that so it's described as well. So you don't have to just do a certain number. Do as much as will describe the book, but those 7 are kind of like, you know, what I try to do all the time. Now also, I have this is my grandmother's old baking cabinet, and it has the, you know, this kind of enamel white. So a white background works really good. I can take this photo and I can crop it either on your phone or with some software, whatever works for your workflow. But then cropping it, you can tend to get just the white, and that works really good. It's kind of like what Google, if Google wants to use your photo as a thumbnail, they really want this white background, nothing obstructing. So for me, I kind of try to crop into the white. It doesn't always work, but that's my goal. Then the other thing is lighting. I try to do enough lighting, and I'll show you this off, you know, after this video. You know, when I crop it, I'll get this reflection out. You know, it's really hard to minimize shadows depending on what time of day you're taking stuff and how your room is, but natural light works the best so that you're not having to do any kind of enhancements or, you know, balancing or anything, and it gives the buyer the true, you know, the true coloring of the book. So it's not always successful, but that's what we always try to do. It's what I always try to do. Anyway, that's what I do. All right, so you saw kind of the process, right, of what I do. I try to get things on a white background, I try to have good lighting, and I go through those views, and that amounts to 6 or 7, you know, 6 or 7 photos. That's pretty easy, and those are free for listing. You're not getting into any additional charge. Now, sometimes certain books, maybe it doesn't make sense to do all those, you know, for whatever reason. If you're only taking 4 or 5 photos, it's not the end of the world, but you're doing better than doing stock photos and you're giving the user something. But I try to do that 6 or 7. I know I've gone through phases over my eBay career where I'm lazy and I just want to take 1 or 2 photos, and then I'll catch myself say, well, why just a little bit more effort? Just do it. If you're going to do it right. You know, that's good advice. So that's what I try to do. And I've been popping these up to show you the final, you know, what they would look like in the listing. So let's unpack a little bit beyond the views. Okay, so first off, the white background. You know, from reading I've done, you talk about there's eBay and people finding things on eBay, and then there's also buyers that just use like Google search, right? And you know, some of the guidelines that you hear about for photos on Google search for thumbnails, they want a white background. If you can do a white background, I think it's good practice, okay? And you don't have to have a light box. You don't have to have a, you know, enamel tabletop off your grandmother's baking cabinet to take photos. You can just take a piece of poster board, quite honestly, you know, or a piece of foam board, and have it on your desktop or on your kitchen table or whatever, and that's going to give you the white background. The biggest issue I find often is lighting. Especially if I'm doing listings or taking photos at night, because, you know, you don't get the light coming in from the windows, and natural light I think is the best. But you know, you don't get that natural light. So at night you can get, if you start getting flashes and things, the color can get distorted and not be true to what the item is. So I try to do photos during the day just because of the lighting I've got in my office here, my book room. But there are some things, and I'll show you some things that can help. And you don't need any of this stuff for, you know, you can do it with whatever you've got, but this is what I use. I have a little tripod, a little lightweight tripod. It's got tons of extensions, so if I need to get my lighting set, it has the little camera adapter there. And then I've got one of these, I'll put the things I use, you know, in the title, the listing page, the description page, where it's got some affiliate links. And, you know, it's just what I use. If you hit them, you know, it's what I use, it works. You know, if you end up buying them, I think I get some, you know, whatever, some little percentage. It doesn't cost you anything, but just full open disclosure. Here's another little light, you know, light ring. It's really kind of cool. Now, what's interesting about this one, and be careful with this and decide, this lighting thing, of course, it has the camera thing where I can, adapter, where I can adjust it. It's fed by USB power. And I actually got this as a mistake. I said, why does it not have, you know, power, like, you know, regular AC power? Well, turns out this has actually worked out pretty good for me. At first, I'm like, I don't know how to get off my computer. How do I get power? And it's not where it's too far away for the cord. But I have this for, I have this little power pack. It's a little solar power pack that a friend gave me. It's for backpacking, right? And it can hang on my pack and to recharge things. But you know, it's perfect because then I can plug this thing in, and now I'm blind to blow it out here. You can see the, you know, I can do it, and I'm totally portable onto my tripod. So I like, you know, you probably have one of these. You don't have to run out and get this, but actually it's really cool, this solar thing for, you know, emergency preparedness, and I like it for my hike when I go hiking. But I use this with a tripod on a portable thing when I need extra lighting. It works for me. Now, camera-wise, I still use, I'm old school, right? Hey man, I'm in my 50s. I still have a full SLR Nikon camera that I use a lot. I do this mainly for my workflow, right? I can take my photos and then take the, because I do things on the computer more on my phone, I take the SIM card, and I actually still have an old copy, if you remember the Google Picasa software to do my cropping, and I'm faster than that than my phone. Now, when I do it with my phone, you know, you take it, I do all the cropping on my phone, and then I can pop that up on like my my iCloud, and then pull it down to my desktop or load it from there, right? So it's, the bottom line is there's no right or wrong way. Don't go buy a fancy camera rig, you know, unless you just want one. I mean, you don't need it. Use what you've got. And I guess that's my point, is all this stuff is optional. It's just stuff I have that for different things, and it works for me. But you know, the whole point is that you want good lighting and you want some good pictures. But whatever in your workflow works for you. For me, this was a camera I've had for 20 years. I know how to use it, and it works with the SIM card into my workflow with software I've already got on my desktop. If you don't have all that, or you're really just everything's remote, fine. Just use your phone, do all the cropping on your phone. You're gonna get more megapixels on your phone than I've got on that camera. And then even if you do desktop, you can go up through the cloud to get to those photos. It's whatever works for you for your, you know, for your workflow. So, and that's, so my final point on it is, on workflow, what I like to do is take photos of about 10 books at a time. Then it's easier for me to organize and to go through and, you know, do my crop editing. And then it's kind of like, I feel like I've got those photos, then I list 10 books, and that's something that I've done, right? And especially if I have a lot of similar books, like, you know, so let's say it doesn't matter. I've just got several books that are the same. Maybe it's just books in a series by the same author, or they're related books that are all about the same subject matter. I'll try to group those and take them all, the photos at the same time, because then on the listing side, that's a lot of times it's fewer things that I need to change on my listings, which, you know, it's another video topic on doing listings. So anyway, it's kind of like thinking about it in that automation, and any time that you can kind of do those things all at once, you kind of get in that flow. Some people might say, I take all my photos. For me, it works better in my flow, for my listing flow, to do about 10 books at a time. Get those set, but I have all those photos when I sit down to do my listing. So, you know, that's just another bonus topic on listing workflow. So anyway, so we've talked about photos. I think to recap, the you know, number one thing is on your photos is to take the number that describes the item and think about, if you were a buyer, what you would want to see about that. don't use stock photos. On the photos, look at your views. I suggest 6 or 7. Do a white background if you can. And on that topic too, there's videos on how to do light boxes. I mean, if you got that, that's great. Do a light box. I don't think I need one just for my setup, but do a white background with good lighting, and then, you know, whatever you're taking it with, your phone, another camera, concentrate on your workflow to speed it up and to make it real efficient. So, you know, I know there's a lot of information there. So hopefully it's useful, gives you some things to think about and to unpack and you know, to improve your listings. And I think it will pay off for you. You know, you'll get more satisfied buyers if nothing else, because it eliminates the unknown, but it should improve your listing scores, your quality of your listings, which in turn will make your listings be promoted more, get on that first page, and long term, that's going to increase your sell-through rate. So anyway, see cool, buy cool, and if you get a chance, listen to the Black Keys. They're awesome. They're my favorite band. So talk to you soon. Bye.